Hello, hello, I'm just some ghoul, and this is my channel. For whatever reason, because, I don't know, we're broken as a society by consumerism and branding culture, I suppose, we human beings love comparing fast food restaurants across different countries, and I am no exception. When I was in Japan, I was determined to try their McDonald's exclusive items and get a sub at Spubby, my favorite fast food go-to discern the difference in quality, if there were any. To start, though, I'm going to talk about Burger King. Walking through a market street in Osaka, I spotted this sign for new Ninuku burger, so of course I wanted to try it. Not only do I have very little experience with Burger King because the nearest one was always been some towns over growing up, but as a Canadian, we don't always get the same promotions as America. So for all I knew, this was like my chance to get Japan level quality Burger King in a promotion that I otherwise would probably never have access to. And the results were very unimpressive. It tasted like any other Burger King burger. Of course, it had some extra garlickiness to it, but the burger inherently also came with standard condiments, which totally took away from the new orange garlic one. Verdict: Burger King in Japan was not better. D tier. Next up is Wendy's, my partner's favorite fast food restaurant, which we got in a mall food court in Kyoto. We usually pick Wendy's over options available here in Canada because it's mildly less greasy and tends to have fresher ingredients over things like Burger King and the like. The Wendy's in Japan was much the same, if not a little worse. I got the standard Davies single whatever it's called, and sure, the ingredients were fresh, but the taste overall was just bland, which might be because we were eating so much good food at the time in comparison, but that can't be helped. It was a burger that I barely wanted to finish, so it gets a C tier. My partner got the mushroom melt, it was mid, still a C tier for me. And then we got the butter flavored fries as a side because they were new to us. We don't get those in Canada. I had no idea, never seen them before. And those were actually gross, like almost inedible. Whoever decided that that was a good idea needs to get fired. So F for fired, F tier. And quite honestly, we regretted the Wendy's experience entirely by the end because of the comparison of it to everything else available in Japan. It didn't taste all that good, and it wasn't financially worth it. We spent more on Wendy's than we spent actually getting Wagyu burgers. Like, that's just stupid. Now, on to the big hitter, McDonald's. We got McDonald's several times in Japan because it was just easy. If we were having a heavy travel day, popping into McDonald's was more preferable than getting something from a conveni and having to eat it on the go or carry our garbage around with us. So originally, I was determined to try these new Japan exclusive items because they were plastered in advertisements everywhere while I was there. But in the end, and over the several times that I went to a McDonald's in Japan, they were out of stock and I couldn't order them. Whether it was that they were really all that good over whether the demand was just really hyped up and high, I will never know. That said, here's the things that I did get from McDonald's. The samurai burger was good, but nothing to write home about. It and the teriyaki burger were very one note and almost a little too saucy. I'll give them a B tier. The chicken burger they had, which I don't think was the one that I'm using in the picture for the tier chart, was a little bit spicy and it had lemongrass sauce and it was really high quality chicken. So that gets an A tier. Just about everything chicken in Japan was A tier or above. And I guess McDonald's was no exception. Their sausage egg breakfast sandwich was super fresh, also gets an A tier. Their matcha frappe latte, whatever it was very matcha, but like good, even though I'm not the biggest fan. B tier. McDonald's in Japan had extra dessert options, which we don't get, and there were these custard wafer pies. They tasted like strawberry wafers that I'd get from my grandma's house, but softer and warm, so those were an absolute S tier. They also had macarons. There was a like limited time apple Christmas one, and I got a raspberry one too, and they were both very good. A tier. Their coffee was a little more bitter. Not in a bad way, but a different way, and the iced coffee versions were just inherently less sweetened, which should be good for me, so I shouldn't be complaining. B tier. The McNuggets in Japan were so much cheaper than in Canada. I'm paying over $1 a nugget over here, And in Japan, there was an option to switch my meal deal's fries to a 5-piece nuggets instead with no extra charge, which is crazy because their nuggets are legit twice the amount of meat in them too. I would give them an S tier, but Japan McDonald's, for whatever reason, only have 2 dipping sauce options, neither of which I like. So in the end, the nugget experience was still a little less flavorful than perfection. So it gets a solid A tier. And last but not least, Japan's McDonald's had garlic pepper chicken tenders, which they're now doing nugget versions of, I suppose. They were so cheap and so good, super flavorful, and felt really like truly higher quality than fast food, which gets a big old S tier. Now, last but not least, my boy Subway. The Subway menu in Japan is much more limited than those available elsewhere, and that's probably due to health standards. I don't blame them. I wanted to get a sub that I could compare across the board and settled on ham being a good standard for that, as the chicken in Japan is just stupid good quality, no matter where you go, and their pre-made chicken sandwiches options had different, cooler sauce flavors, so that seemed unfair. That said, I didn't accomplish what I intended in the end anyway. I translated the menu before I got there and was like, oh yeah, this one's the ham equivalent. And when I went to order it, there was a great amount of confusion as I tried to navigate ordering Buddha, the server pointing at the meat, and me going like, oh no, I don't think that's what that is. Suffice to say, it wasn't ham in the standard lunch meat sense. It was a lot more like cured prosciutto, and it came with a really creamy cheese that they squirted out of a tube instead of cheese slices. So the whole comparison idea was totally botched. All that, though, it was a pretty good sandwich. It tasted a lot lighter than Subway sandwiches in North America. It seemed like they used a different bread recipe, and all of the meat and ingredients they use are fresher and less processed. To be honest, it tasted a lot more like Mr. Sub used to be like. But then, for sides, the Subway in Japan don't have cookies and stuff. They have home-style potato bites, and they were so good. I almost ordered another baggie of them to go. So the sub was B tier, but the potatoes were an absolute S tier. So yeah, that's my fast food comparison tier list. Have you ever gotten fast food in a different country and it just absolutely blown your mind how different it was? Tell me in the comments what that was, because I am obviously interested in that sort of thing, because I'm stupid. But that's okay, we can be stupid together. And until I have more fast food hot takes, I will see you in the next video. Bye!